So before I begin, I just want to mention that I know there are a lot of videos out there that talk about how to brush your teeth and they show it on little models, but it seems like nobody's actually posting videos about how to do it on a real mouth from start to finish. And to me, that's almost like watching a makeup tutorial or some sort of DIY project where they give you the bits and pieces, but they don't actually show you the whole process from beginning to end. And that's not really setting you up for success. So that's what I want to do in my video today. I want to show you from start to finish on my own mouth how to brush your teeth, how to floss them correctly, and how to clean your tongue, because that's also very important. I'll start with brushing, but I want to go over a few things before I begin. Number one, I use a soft bristled manual toothbrush, not an electric one, and you can watch video number 4 to find out why. But if you're using an electric toothbrush, I also have a video on how to use that correctly. I think it's video number 5, if you want to just check out my channel and find it there. But you'd be surprised how many people do not know how to use their electric toothbrush properly, so I really encourage you to check it out to see if you're doing it correctly. Number 2, the whole point of brushing is to aim toward the gums and to brush all surfaces of all your teeth. I'll be showing you how to accomplish both of those in this video. Now, number 3, in this demonstration, I do not plan on using toothpaste. Now, I normally do use toothpaste, but I just want you to be able to clearly see what I'm doing in there, and I feel like the foam would get in the way of that. Plus, I don't want you to think I have rabies. So let's begin. The first step would be to put some toothpaste on and spread it all over my teeth, and then get started. So as you can see, I'm starting on the bottom inside, and I'll get into the reason for that in video number 7. But I'm aiming the brush bristles in toward the gums and using small circle motions to sweep the plaque out from underneath the gums. Now as I approach the front here, I'm going to brush at various different angles because that's a common area for plaque and tartar buildup, and I want to make sure to spend some time there to do a thorough job. In fact, I want to pause that for a second and talk a little bit more about why it's such a common problem area. So underneath our tongue, there are a couple of saliva glands right underneath there, and they shoot spit out all day long onto our front teeth here. Now the reason why that's such a danger is because our teeth in the front there are so cute and little. Here's some healthy gum and a healthy bone level, and any sort of tartar that builds up around the teeth can make the tooth really unhappy, and it can cause the gums to recede as well as the bone to shrink back, and now your tooth is holding on by a little stump of a root there, and that can cause the tooth to become really wiggly, and it can cause it to fall out. And now the neighbor tooth is really sad. So don't let the little guy lose his friend. Don't give a chance for the plaque and tartar to build up. Spend some time there. Alright, so I'm going to continue brushing on the inside, working my way toward the back. And as I approach the back, I'm going to hook my brush a couple of times, just like that, to reach the very back of the back tooth. Now, as I'm working my way toward the front on the outside, I'm going to follow the curve of my teeth, and once it gets a little awkward, I'm going to flip my hand over and continue working along the fronts of the teeth, following the curve, aiming toward the gums, and using small circle motions, hooking around a couple of times there. Now I'm working on the tops of the teeth and making sure to brush in various different angles to reach all the crevices in there. Now I'm working on the top, same idea, starting on the inside there, small circle motions up toward the gums, and same thing for the top front teeth. I'm gonna brush a couple of different angles to really make sure I do a thorough job in there. And then I'm going to continue along the inside there. And then now watch as I go toward the back how I shift my jaw to reach the very back of the back tooth there. And then I'm just going to continue working my way toward the front, following the curve of the teeth, aiming toward the gums there. And I want to make sure that I'm not brushing too aggressively, not too hard, gentle but thorough. So just continuing brushing here, hooking around the back there, shifting my jaw, and then gonna brush the tops of the teeth, same idea, various angles to get into all the crevices there. And I'm gonna finish up. And that's it for the brushing. All right, so now for the floss. Alrighty then, a couple of things about flossing. Number one, the whole point of flossing is to wipe the side of each tooth. So if you're doing one of these, that is not flossing. All right, number two, you may have noticed that I'm using a floss that's kind of a string. I don't use the floss that comes on a stick, one of those flossers. I don't use that, and I will get into the reason for that in a little bit. But anyway, so you take your floss and you're gonna wrap it around your finger and hold it just like that. And let me show you up close what flossing is all about. So you're gonna wedge it in between two teeth gently, and you're gonna get to the base of one tooth and wipe it, and then get to the base of the other tooth and wipe it. So again, gonna wedge in between gently, get to the base and wipe, and that's what flossing is all about. So let's see what it looks like from start to finish. So I'm starting on the top in the back there, and as you notice, while I'm flossing, I am wrapping around my finger as I floss in between each tooth. Now the reason for that is you kind of want to think of it as when you're blowing your nose into a tissue when you're sick, for example. You don't want to keep blowing your nose into the same piece of tissue, right? You want to blow your nose into a fresh piece of tissue each time. So that's kind of the same with flossing. I want a fresh piece in between each tooth as I wipe the gunk out from between each area. And that's one of the reasons why I prefer to use the floss that's on a string, because I can use a fresh piece in between each tooth. Now another reason why I use regular floss instead of the flossers is because it wraps around the teeth a little bit better than the rigid tiny little piece of floss that comes on the flosser stick. So I'm moving on to the bottom now and wrapping as I go. Now another thing about flossing is if you have any missing teeth, you want to make sure to still floss the teeth that are next to the area where you have a missing tooth, because your toothbrush can't reach around the corners of those teeth even though you have a missing tooth there. So it's still important to wipe the side of each tooth even if there's a missing tooth in between. So I'm just continuing flossing and wrapping around my finger as I go, making sure to really get to the base of each tooth, and just continue along that way. Do you guys have any questions for me? Just kidding. Well, actually, you can leave a comment or a question in the comment section if you have a question. But so I'm finishing up here in just a little bit. And looks like that's it for the flossing. Yay, squeaky clean. Now let's talk about the tongue for a second. So the tongue is basically a carpet for bacteria. And if you don't brush it on a regular basis, a few things happen. Number one, your breath really stinks. That's pretty self-explanatory. We don't want our breath to stink. Number two, you can actually lose your sense of taste. So what happens is the bacteria coats your tongue and covers your taste buds, and your taste buds can't taste whatever you're eating. In fact, if you wait long enough and don't brush your tongue for a long period of time, what happens is your taste buds actually start trying to grow beyond the carpet of bacteria, and in effect, it makes your tongue look hairy. You can actually even Google it, hairy tongue. It's pretty gross. So if you start seeing that on your tongue, it basically means you have a very dirty tongue. You should brush it. Now, one other thing that happens if you don't brush your tongue is you are more prone to periodontal disease and cavities, because essentially you have like a cesspool of bacteria just hanging out on your tongue, and that can easily transfer over onto your teeth. So we really want to minimize the amount of bacteria that's in your mouth, and a lot of it resides on your tongue, so we definitely want to make sure to brush it off. So I'm actually gonna take a break and eat a little bit of ice cream and get my tongue nice and coated, and then I'm gonna head over to the bathroom and actually show you how to brush it off properly. Alright, so I've been eating ice cream for about 20 minutes now, and my tongue's not as coated as I'd hoped it to be, but we'll make it work. So for cleaning your tongue, you can either use a tongue scraper or just your regular toothbrush. To be honest, I'm a little bit lazy and I just use my regular toothbrush. But the tongue scraper works really well if you have a strong gag reflex or if you want the job done faster. It definitely cleans your tongue off faster than a regular toothbrush. But I'm just going to show you with a brush how to do it. So here goes. So turn on your water and start brushing the tip of your tongue in different directions, just like that. And periodically you want to rinse your toothbrush and your mouth, and then just repeat the process, working your way toward the back. I'm just gonna fast forward this, and essentially it's rinse and repeat until your tongue turns pink. So let's look at the before and now the after. Maybe it's hard to tell, but basically you just want to make sure to clean it all the way until it's nice and pink. Now let's go back to my yellow chair to kind of wrap things up. So I know that was a lot of information, but now you know all the parts: brushing, flossing, and cleaning your tongue. Stay tuned, because in video number 7, I'm actually going to show you how I incorporate all those parts into my personal daily cleaning routine so that you can follow along and get your teeth nice and healthy and squeaky clean. I've also got a young follower who drew me a picture. Thought I might share it with you. That's me. I do wear glasses most of the time. I only wear contacts for videos because the glare is hard to manage. The second drawing from my follower. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit the bell button for more videos. Thanks for watching, and take care of your teeth.